All right, what's going on? I've been analyzing these words and meanings and roots, and I've been seeing them like kind of everywhere. That there's synchrotronic connections and like odd extra like content. If you look like for instance, Sodom and Gomorrah. There's this unknown like part about the whole Sodom and Gomorrah thing that not only were they militant homosexuals and they were inhospitable, and actually they were like organized stalking individuals and targeting them with these games where they would gaslight and do the street theater to lead them deeper into Sodom or Gomorrah, uh, to their marketplace, and they would give them these fake coins and they would say this is our real currency. And when they would get to the marketplace, no one would sell them any food or provision, so the person would get drawn deeper into enemy territory, and then in search of stuff, supplies, basically, and then they would get dragged deeper into town. And then by the time they left, there was no way they could make it to another settlement to get water or food. And the people of Sodom and Gomorrah knew it, and they would basically, after they died, they just go like, pick the corpse of any possession or whatever, do as they will with it. And I see this connection here to this strange connection to the word California. Like if you look in this Hindu, uh, in their kind of history, they got this Kali figure, which is this blue woman with her tongue out and vampire teeth, and she stands over the heads of men, and it's like, and it's crazy. These this cult in India, they were called the Thuggee, and it was like they would organize stalking, fashion, and manners, do the same thing, where they would look, they'd be like, oh, they found gold down here by the river, or oh, there's this great holy man over here, go see him. And then when you got over deeper and deeper off into no man's land, like BFE basically, and all the locals were in on it and they knew about it, and they would get you over here, and then they would literally sacrifice these guys, and these guys were called thugs, like literally. And what's so crazy is the whole Hollywood thug life, the way that they kind of sold it to the people through videos and TV and movies and stuff, which come all out of California. Which, it's like, there's been many tales of people who have sought after fame and fortune, and they went deeper and deeper out to Cali and go looking for Hollywood to become a famous movie star. And then they end up either becoming a junkie or drug addict, criminal, or end up in a snuff film or in pornography. Basically, they get sacrificed. And literally, these days, like, Hollywood is known for sacrificing people, whether it's, betraying somebody and selling them out so that they lose their career, or literally their life sometimes. It's really odd, and it seems like it's almost like it's pretty sophisticated, the stuff that's going on there, and you can see it. But on the upper hand, in the upper echelon, the whole bourgeoisie type, aristocracy, which all the actors are really, they're like low level royalty. When you look up their backgrounds, like they're all connected. It's like the mob. You know what I'm saying? It's like a cult, like the Thuggee. And they always, new rising stars who rise fast die, like of strange circumstances all the time out there. And it's the same thing with this whole Thuggee, the thug life. And on the low hand, you got the streets out there, these gangs that they literally routinely do blood sacrifice. I mean, in a way, they don't call it a blood sacrifice, but when you go out and you go kill some rival gang members, and you support that cause, and you fuel they don't realize it, but they're being used by the prison industrial complex, the military industrial complex, for an agenda. Because if the gangbangers ain't gangbanging, it's like, look, funds are getting cut for the police. You know what I'm saying? And it came straight out of Cali, the whole the secret deal between hip hop and the prison industrial complex, that they would make sleazier content of and more criminality type music and movie imagery, so that it would like peer pressure people into partaking in similar behavior to normalize the thug life and having to deal with people dying and look people getting sacrificed to the prison. Because I mean, look, it's been known since prison's inception that they would take like people that weren't as guilty as they portrayed them to be, so they could use them for labor, prison inmate labor. I mean, and in all actuality, for every prisoner that the police lock up, the public gets charged like $39,000 a year. So every guy that's sitting in prison, whether he's some chump charge, you know what I'm saying, like really not a hardened thug life, slit your throat for a nickel criminal. He's just just somebody who got caught doing something maybe they shouldn't, and look, through loopholes and bureaucracy, they're made out and villainized and made out to be this bad guy. But they just want them to sit in the prison because it's just like it was when they used to have them building railroads and busting rocks. By you sitting in that prison cell, all these people are taxing everybody in the public all around you. The reasons why kids, they ain't got the funds in school to teach them or to have music classes, it's because you've been tricked into paying for services that you don't need. Some of these people don't need to sit in a cell 24/7 and need to be watched and housed and resources spent on for these people that could be out being more productive. Instead, it's like, since the prison is there, they're going to find somebody guilty enough for something where they're going to make them guilty and set them in there, so that it's like they can extort the taxpayers without them knowing it for $39,000 per inmate. You know what I'm saying? Like that's prison. That's another kind of a sacrifice. Look, you're cannibalizing the life force of people by through trickery and cunning and craft, because that's all this stuff is. It's clever word magic, dude. If you look at law and the maritime amnesty law, your straw man, your freaking your name in all caps, look, flag trimmed in gold, maritime amnesty law. Look, if you look at these things and you look at life and you see things for what they are, they're like, there is no legit authority anywhere. It's all basically assumed. And I mean, it's hard to explain because this is really dealing in, this is really what metaphysical is maritime amnesty law and our sovereign law, like, which your country law versus global law, like, in a way, because maritime amnesty's law, wherever there's water, they could, through their legalese and mumbo jumbo, proclaim ownership of an area if there's water, enough water in anywhere, like, basically, because it's deep. I don't want to get too deep into that right now, but Cali is in the name California. You know what I'm saying? And it's also, it's like, I watched these guys do the hidden history of California, and it shows from the very beginning there's a lot of druids and European witch covens that founded the area, and they so happen to be like money people as well. And from the very beginning, California, literally, they chose it as like these sacrificial grounds where they would lead people there and then kill them. Just like there was gold. Look, gold, the gold rush, right? They all went to California, and look, uh, lead them where the Indians were, and when they were warring with other countries and other people and tribes and freaking nations at the time. So you're sending all these guys to go mine the land while there's a war going on in the land. They got sacrificed again. And then that would give a right for you have to call in the cavalry now. Look, so it's another false flag. Look, where they're exploiting two parties as an excuse to go in with your army to solve the problem. Look, we're here to help. Type. I mean, it's if you really look, man, it's like the stuff is so freaking connected. Even look, the thug cult from India. Uh, you got the gangs in Cali. Like, you got them. They do it between the blacks and the Mexicans and the Asians. They all get put into this left-right pillar. It's like the same the same scheme. There's nothing new under the sun. They get these two parties, and this third party controls both, and they keep the two parties fighting against each other. It's a Willie Lynch system of bloodletting and culling and keeping people self-controlled because they're broken on purpose, so they'll never really rise above their condition. They're trapped inside a box. They're in a prison of programming that it's been so sophisticatedly put inside of these people that they think it's their own idea. Like they thought they came up with it themselves, and they don't see that no, this is social engineering. All these things were, all the doors were open for you, all the green lights were made for you, but it's just to get you to the sacrifice location. Kind of like in the Manchurian Candidate, it's when he's standing on the star, then the freaking dude gets triggered and he does the old routine. It's kind of like that's kind of how it works, you know, like with the gang organized stalking of leading the guy deeper and deeper and deeper into enemy territory, right where you want him, to the sacrifice location. It's like by the time in Sodom and Gomorrah that you've seen the man was in the marketplace, you already know his time. Look, the longer he sits there asking people, and the longer he doesn't recognize this is a trap. Look, he's already dying basically because he's not gonna make it unless there's a miracle to the next place where he can get any kind of provision. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like same thing, just like Cali, you know, and it's like I've seen the same theme repeated. Oh, I'm on my way to California. I'm gonna try to become an actor, right? And then come to find out that stuff is it's not legit. It's not like talent just gets you anywhere. You know what I'm saying? I mean it. Well, you know, it can get you. Maybe you could be maybe a candidate to be used in one of their ops. You know what I'm saying? In some of their social engineering, they might use you, you know, as like kind of like a state actor. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all movies really are. It's like these same guys, they're working for the programmers, and they can't help it. That's just, you can't bite the hand that feeds you. You know what I'm saying? And look, every single thing you see in a movie set is controlled. It's a prop. There's a reason for it being there. Just like even in the news, more so. Like literally, they have the same people that do movies in Hollywood. They work for the news now, and they create these scenarios, and they make little snippets for you to make it look real. You know what I'm saying? So you don't realize that. Look, they're doing the same thing that the thugs are doing. The thuggy, and it's the KKK would know much better than the thuggy back in the day. Like in the deep south back in the day, they could make somebody disappear for real, and no one and no chance of justice at all. It was literally like a mob, a cult that was unbreakable. Like they're not gonna give up their power. They're not gonna relinquish their power. You know what I'm saying? Like period. Like look, this is our gig. We want to hang this motherfucker upside down, cut his throat, and take his blood and give it to Cali. Look, that's what they do. Uh, you know, it's pretty freaking crazy. But if you look it all up, it's like there's nothing new under the sun. It's like they try to trick us because there's technology. Like this is somehow new and enlightened times, but it's not. It is so archaic. It is so medieval. It is so like crazy authoritarian, freaking hang 'em high of a place we live in, dude. It's nuts. Like a neoconservative, Fourth Reich, uh, craziness. This is, and look, and it's weird that I was, because I was so stupid in a way, and I just, everything I was taught was a lie. I was incapable in the beginning to even see how crazy it is. But when you start to figure out what is what, and you know for yourself, you start to look at things and you be like, how did I never see that before? It was out there all along. It was like it was snitching on itself, freaking, and it's kind of crazy. You know, a lot of times things happen like that. Like when you look back at something, you'll understand it even more than you did when you were so busy while you're going through it that you didn't have time to look at everything that was going on. And this is how the cults kind of work and operated historically and modernly.